Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you all for attending my talk. I'm really appreciative of the opportunity to present. My specific topic is going to be about the evolving role of leadership in the new age of artificial intelligence. At the moment, I would like to take the first couple of minutes to clear up a bit of a misunderstanding that some of industry leaders and even general public have about artificial intelligence. So the term artificial intelligence is an umbrella term for the field. What we need to focus on when we discuss specific topics about artificial intelligence is more specific things, such as self-driving cars is an area within artificial intelligence, upscaling, reinforcement learning models, and prediction models and regression models. These are areas within artificial intelligence, and these are more so the topic that we want to discuss and really focus on. Hopefully with this knowledge, leadership, and even promising new students and prospects could really focus more surgically on attacking the issues of each facet of artificial intelligence. So it is important for me to just arm most of the leaders in the Gulf with that level of knowledge so that when they address it specifically, for example, for ways to reduce the harm, let's say, for artificial intelligence technologies, we need that to be more surgically targeted. Now that that's out of the way, let's discuss the more important topic at hand. So today, I'm interested in discussing essentially what leadership responsibilities for industry leaders and even students as we go about this new evolving age of artificial intelligence. Specifically, I would like to take a moment for everybody here to just imagine a scenario. Let's say you got hit by a car. I know it sounds dramatic, but the reason I say this is to paint a picture that the future we're going to would more and more so rely on artificial intelligence. Now, you got hit by a car, let's say. You're taken to the OR for your surgery. Now, I want you to imagine this scenario where you're on the table, you wake up for a few moments, and all you hear is your surgeon, in this case, saying, "My ChatGPT doesn't work." Now, I understand it sounds ridiculous for now, but the issue here is not that artificial intelligence by itself could accomplish this. It's more so that we are moving into an age where leaders need to be more careful in vetting and in really securing the prospects that they have. What this means is, in this scenario that I painted, your first thought probably as you woke up for that minute and heard that is, who hired this guy? Now, of course, that might be too dramatic, like I said, but the idea is still there. Leadership will have to vet the new prospect from education fields into the workplace. And I believe this is a responsibility that will be more and more prominent as we go about the future, because the way generative AI specifically, and this is why I tried to highlight the different areas in artificial intelligence, but the way students, let's say, these days, perceive artificial intelligence, more specifically generative AI, so that's models like ChatGPT, Midjourney, those models that rely on natural language processing, and they're more commonly known as large language models. Now, these models allow each one of us to basically, let's say, fake expertise. What that looks like is you graduate, let's say, as an engineer, but the reality is you really relied as full almost dependency on artificial intelligence and ChatGPT. What does that mean? That means essentially you didn't learn anything. So the moment you lose access to artificial intelligence, in this scenario, ChatGPT, for example, can you even perform the task at hand? And now, maybe you're saying surgery is too far, Salman, and I can agree with that, except in 2022, there's already talks about ChatGPT passing 3 medical tests. What that means is essentially ChatGPT could fake expertise of a doctor, and yet what that means essentially for the patient in this scenario is they do not have access to real care. Now this spreads to most of the fields, and most importantly, this could affect our experience, for humans, I mean. At the end of the day, the more and more we dive deeper into the technology without any real checks and balances, we're essentially replacing human workers with AI. Now, that wouldn't be a problem if it was an assistive tool, which is what its intended purpose is. But the problem here is demonstrated again and again. ChatGPT is being used more of a full dependency system. And I don't want to single out ChatGPT because soon we will get other forms of models, such as Sora, which will be able to convert text to video. And this will, again, allow people to, let's say, fake expertise. So I wanted to be clear that this is not something only related to ChatGPT, but it's something that we have to address as a whole. But keep in mind, what I initially started my talk with, it is important to target specifically generative AI when addressing this issue. This is not an issue that upscaling technology with artificial intelligence has, let's say. So now you're probably all thinking, why exactly, how is this relevant to us? Now, I'm sure some people here will be in leadership positions, if not already are. And your role will have to evolve, essentially, with time. And not being able to understand these, let's say, niche technologies will be detrimental. But there's always a silver lining. And in this scenario, what is actually beneficial is for us to address this specifically at stages that we have more control on. So can we ask students, let's say, not to cheat? Maybe not. Can we try to stop them from cheating? Maybe not. But I think a more appropriate way to address this issue, and I think more relevant to everybody here, is should we look at the work that students do and make them understand that the way they're moving on from, let's say, their study and their reliance on artificial intelligence specifically will make them replaceable in the marketplace. So what you're actively doing, let's say by cheating, is really making yourself more obsolete than anything. And I think addressing this topic in a way where it allows the, let's say, students or leaders targeted more specifically in a way where they understand that while the technology might be revolutionary, while it might allow a lot of students, let's say, to pass with a 4.0 GPA, that is amazing, of course, for everybody, but you will struggle when you try to get a job. So effectively, you're doing more self-harm in this scenario than anything else. So my recommendation would be, effectively, if you are a student currently, or you are trying as a leader to position yourself more appropriately, you would try to use these models in a more assistive method. So that might sound difficult, but it's in reality extremely easy. It only requires discipline from the user. What does that look like? Essentially, instead of using, let's say, answers.ai to take your question with the multiple choices and get the answer directly, what if you ask ChatGPT, how to solve it. It might sound too simple, but it really is all it takes. These are modules trained with natural language processing. Essentially, you, the user, could interact with it like a teacher. You can interact with it like it's a prospect, let's say. In this scenario, you dictate how exactly you want to move forward. Now, this might sound, why should I? And I might agree, but the reality is, sooner or later, you will learn that lesson the hard way once you are in your next phase of employment, let's say. Because then, while you might have the stellar, let's say, CV or resume, the moment, let's say, regulation drop in, how can you, as a student now and graduated, relearn all of the 4 years effort that you should have put back then in order to be able to go to an interview, a face-to-face one, and convince people that you are actually good enough to take that position. And if that is not enough to convince students already, realistically, there is a big issue that this will have on humanity in general. The more we take, let's say, shortcuts in trying to learn and position ourselves in a way where we're not really replaceable, but more able to provide a level of productivity, let's say, a creativity, and so on. The more you position yourself in the wrong way, the more detrimental the results will be on people, let's say, your patients. Let's say if you're not a doctor, on the house that this customer have commissioned from you, and so on and so forth. So in reality, I think that it is really simple for students to really position themselves in a way that could allow them to excel not only in their studies, which could use the assistance of ChatGPT, let's say, or large language models, but also be able to step forward and provide real value in the workplace afterward. It only takes that one, let's say, step, that one level of self-discipline to say, let me not waste my time, and instead, let me ask ChatGPT, let's say, to teach me how to solve it. This skill will still be relevant in the future as well in your employment. So I believe it is almost, the standard will be in the future for people to use generative models in order to have a better workflow in the workplace. But that doesn't mean you have to be replaceable unless you position yourself in a way where you're fully dependent on generative AI. So while you might have heard a lot of scare about, your role in the new age of, let's say, artificial intelligence, can you lead, and so on and so forth, will you be replaced? I believe that ultimately falls to the students and, let's say, people in general to really decide where do they want to position themselves, and can they actually get the most value out of their experience. Thank you very much.